Something that has become very obvious to me at one rental at a time is the action of being a go-giver attracts other go-givers. This is so evident by my good friend Millennial Mike, who actually goes through my comments, pulls out questions, both the haterade and the good ones, and puts me on the spot. I will stress I have no idea what comments are coming. These are honest reactions. And Mike, with given everything you've got going on, I can't believe you still do this for us. So I want to thank you. I know the audience loves this segment. So let's get into it.
Yeah. So we got a lot of great questions today. And, I love to give preferential treatment to hater comments. But the thing is, given the fact that the real estate market keeps not crashing, the haters are just getting more and more quiet and few and far between. So we have
Don't say that. They're going to come back.
Well, yeah, you need to get them all riled up a little bit more. So, but we do have some good questions today. Most people shouldn't be landlords. Why don't people know, or why do people know it's not possible to become wealthy? Benefits of 8% mortgages. Some of your videos from this week sparked some great questions down in the comments. And then I bring those questions you don't have time to answer in written format here in this segment. So starting out, we're going to talk about a question about how most people shouldn't be landlords. This one comes from Rowdy Bush 1. He says, I spent a few hours today with a man that's been investing in real estate since 1977. Interesting that one of his big talking points was that most people should not be landlords. He brought it up more than a few times for different reasons. Number one, he's gotten some of his best deals from people who should have never owned a rental to begin with. And number two, about 30 years ago, after he had a good idea of what type of person makes a good landlord, he started telling most people who asked for advice to look at something else. And this questioner asked Mike, he'd be curious to hear your thoughts on the subject. Should most people not be landlords?
So, that's a good one. I'm glad you brought this up. I did think about this one. And I think my answer is, it depends on what you define as a landlord. And I want to be specific. I think in this question, and again, like you read it, I have to make some assumptions. My guess is he's talking about folks who self-manage. And I completely agree. Myself included. I am in that camp. I would be a horrible self-manager. I have, I always try to put on a hard shell, but I got a GUI center. I am not handy. There's nothing about being a hands-on operator that excites me, or given my character traits and experience, think I would be good at it. So when I look at that question, I believe that experienced landlord is probably highlighting not everybody should be a hands-on operator. That's why I've had property management since day one. I believe property management is one of the hardest jobs out there. I believe they earn every penny, and I want nothing to do with it. So, if you fall into camp one, like I do, you can pay a property manager, but that doesn't give you carte blanche to not do the work. You got to follow up. You got to make sure. I fired my first 5 property managers because they were somewhere between thieves, liars, and terrible at their job. So again, it takes work. And, but once you get a team and standard operating procedures and all of that, it really is not that much work. I have, a large portfolio in, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 hours a month. It's really not that bad a deal for the life that I get to afford it. So I'm going to assume that question is based on hands-on, and I agree.
Yeah. I think he does make a good point. One of the biggest benefits of my life becoming a police officer was that I was taught that how to have a very difficult conversation with somebody professionally. There's nothing harder than turn around, you're under arrest, your rights are being taken away from you, and we're going to jail. But to be able to have that in a professional manner and hold the line is a very, very good skill to have. And you need that to be a landlord. I'm sorry, you're going to be evicted. You're not paying your rent on time. I know things are very difficult right now, but I can't make exceptions. It's technically illegal for me to give you preferential treatment. Yep. And that's not for everybody.
Amen. Well said.
Oh, all right. So why don't people know it's possible to become wealthy? This was one of the questions in a video you released this week. And I don't know if you know this commenter, but a Dorothy Zuber 2312
shout out my mom. I love the fact that my mom watches my videos. That is such a big kick for me. What did my mom say in this comment? I forget.
Well, she had a good comment. No, most of the time she is like best daily financial news. But in this one, she said, my opinion, the reason most people don't know it's possible to become wealthy is the public school system. Besides the one rental at a time family method to wealth, I would include information on thinking for yourself and why following the crowd is not a good idea. So you had asked, you know, what's holding people back, and she gave her opinion as to what would help. So what do you think?
So first and foremost, the school system since Carnegie Mellon and Vanderbilt's has been producing employees and not entrepreneurs. I think she's 100% right. 100% right. I also agree. You know, what was the word she used? The second part of that?
She said, the one rental at a time family method to wealth. She would include information on thinking for yourself and why following the crowd is not a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, if you go back and read my first book or watch my show, the crowd scares me. I mean, physically scares me. When I see the herd going one way, no, I will go the other way. One of the reasons I still speak publicly is to figure out where the herd is going, so I can't go there. Usually, what will happen when the herd goes there is the first ones in will make a killing, and the rest gets slaughtered. You only need to watch that a couple of times before you realize you do not want to be a part of the herd. And thinking for yourself, absolutely. How many of us, and this goes back to your social media feed, man, a lot of echo chambers, a lot of doomers. You know, there's been some people I pushed on this channel that I followed on Twitter that I've canceled following. All they're doing is doomers and whiners and crybabies. Shut up and do the work, you know. We even have folks that used to watch, you know, one of these other doomers who did the one rental at a time method and got a house finally, right? A young man in St. Louis who was upset, and rightly so. But daily discipline and focus made it happen. And I got confirmation yesterday he closed. So hopefully we get him on the channel and we hear the full story, because this stuff works. I never promised easy. But she's right. Yeah, being part of the crowd freaking scares me.
Right. And congratulations to Jeff M for closing on that, by the way. Long time watcher, long time commenter, and that's what it's all about, getting that property. Yep. You talked about the benefit and the positives of 8% mortgages, and a lot of people had a little bit of heartburn with that. So Jar Jar Binks 340 says 8% mortgages.
Jar Jar Binks.
Dude, the names people have, I don't think it's the real Jar Jar Binks, but the names people have for YouTube usernames never cease to crack me up. So he says 8% mortgages will slow the market down and hopefully allow inventory to catch up. And Matt Atcow 1542 follows up with, why would an 8% interest rate bring more inventory? So Mike, can you give us a crash course on exactly how that works?
Yeah, so I want to be clear, and I actually think both these commenters are correct. I want to be very clear. I do not think 8% mortgage rates bring more inventory. What 8% mortgage rates do is slow demand. So the inventory that is coming sits longer. The stat to follow is days on market. That's the stat to follow. Logan from Housing Wire talks about it being a teenager and it being, I think he calls it savagely unhealthy. I think it could easily go to 40 days, 50 days with 8% mortgage. Again, it's not a rush of new inventory. This is not your foreclosure boom or any of that nonsense. It's just 8% mortgage rates constricts demand so hard that the inventory that is coming stacks up more.
Interesting. Okay, so we're going to move on to a new segment we started, which is the comment of the week segment. This is where, as I'm going through, I just see a comment I like. Somebody leaves a thought, a story, something like that. And so Freestyle Obsessed left us one sentence. Concentration makes millions of dollars. Diversification protects millions of dollars. Mike, what do you think about that?
Oh, I think that's, you know, if Warren Buffett or Charlie Munger didn't say it, they certainly intended that. And what I want to do is translate that to what I'm trying to teach in Getting Wealthy, right? Getting Wealthy, step 1, disposable income. Step 2, get elite. Step 3, time. What I would tell most people with that context is your first 10 years, laser focus. Once you build your stack, sure, you can diversify. But this is not a game where you take $1 and put it there, $1 and put it there, and then hope it magically, you know, does this or that. You need to be unbalanced. You need to pick your thing. You need to pick the thing that you're going to be elite at. And for me, that was 93703, 3 or 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,200 to 1,700 square feet. It's called a buy box. It's I talk about it ad nauseum because it is that important. The key to getting wealthy starts with focus, focus, focus.
You know, I'm mad you beat me to it because I was hoping I was going to be the one who related this quote to the buy box. Because the first thing that I thought of when I read that sentence was that in concentration and buy box go hand in hand in every video you've done on it. Is it's so hard to look at a real estate market at all the different asset types: single family, student housing, small multifamily, large multifamily, commercial, short-term rental, medium-term, and you just get lost in the sauce. And so concentration on one particular asset type and becoming the expert in that asset type is the way that you become successful. And then down the line, sure, maybe you can branch out with some 1031 exchanges and things. But like you said, the first 10 years, you know, just if you learn how to get a base hit, just keep making base hits, and eventually you're going to score some runs.
There you go.
All righty. What if the United States started copying Europe? At Samsung New Life 8739, he says, I'm based in Europe and was always curious about the counterfactual. If the US had short-term fixed rate mortgages like us, would it see a crash in prices? I.e., if the 50% mortgage holders were going to reset from 1.5% to 6% rates this year, or excuse me, if 50% of mortgage holders were going to reset from 1.5% to 6% rates this year, would we see a crash in prices?
100, 1,000, 1,000,000%. Yes. And essentially what you just outlined there is exactly why we had the crash in 06. 50% of mortgages were these stupid teaser neg am BS loans that did go from they went from like 1.9, Mike, to 8 or 9%. So without question, if the US was set up right now and we had 50% of loans coming due, we would have a crash. Absolutely. Which, no question, it'd be horrible.
Yeah, shout out to the United States because we are definitely very blessed, and people are ungrateful at times, it seems. The 30-year fixed rate mortgage is an anomaly, and it's a fantastic product. And honestly, I mean, like, it would make real estate investing so much more difficult without it. I mean, I know what my payment's going to be for the next 30 years. And so I can plan for that.
Yeah. The key here is if you have a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, inflation makes you rich. No, I stand corrected. Inflation makes you wealthy. If you live in Europe or Canada or New Zealand or Australia, and the threat after 2, 3, 4, 5 years is your payment triples, inflation could kill you. In the US, we are blessed.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, Mike, you're a hypocrite. Recently, you released a video. You released a video titled, I knew this real estate crash would be bad, but unfortunately, it's going to be worse than I expected. At Ebu2E5088 says, look at me, everybody. I'm a clickbait crash bro. So, Mike, have you sold out and become a doomer?
Absolutely not. If you actually watch the video versus look at the headlines, you will know I was referring to commercial real estate. I've been talking about this pain catastrophe long before anyone else. I got receipts to prove that I was early and I was right. But part of the magic of freaking YouTube is you got to get people to watch the video. So if you got past the title, you would see it was a very positive video trying to show you where the silver lining was. But yeah, I have to make titles that people click on. So that makes me a hypocrite. I take it.
I also don't think it's quite clickbait if you're actually accurate. See, if you just make the same video title,
watch the video. Exactly. It's like exactly there. So, I mean, whatever.
If you make the same title about a crash coming for 3 years straight, the crash never comes. Well, I mean, we could judge that a little bit. But if you're making a title about pain and pressure in commercial real estate, and guess what? There's pain and pressure in commercial real estate. Well, then you really are just reporting the news.
Yeah. I mean, let's be clear. I could have been a little bit more authentic in the title. So here's the deal. When I say housing market, I talk single family homes. If I say real estate market, I'm talking commercial. See how my little, that's how I rationalize it in my head.
Smart. I like it. And on that note, I demand that this video be called The End of the World Unless You Watch to the End. Like, comment, and subscribe.
I don't think people would click on that.
Okay. The Burr strategy has been killed. It's completely dead. Jeremy Shoutout says, is Burr still possible in scale in 2023? Will it be viable and scalable as a business model in the future, or is it just dead?
So I'll answer this in parts. It is still very possible to do Burr deals, but they're extremely hard today. You've got to be experienced. You got to get in and out. You probably have to use your own capital, right? Because again, cost of capital today is 10, 11, 12% for hard or private money. So it can be done, but not by most people. And second, probably not at scale. That was the word in that comment that kind of like, ugh. Because there were people talking about doing 10, 12, 15 of these at a time. There was a time where money was free, where that was possible. I don't think we're in that time. Lastly, will it ever be possible again? I've been doing real estate so long. It all goes in cycles. Burr will be another amazing strategy eventually. When? No idea. But Burr's not dead forever. It's hibernating.
So I got a follow-up question for you. The bigger pockets used to just preach and teach Burr all day, every day, twice on Sunday. And you'd see videos about it, the benefits of it. And I agree, it's an extremely impactful strategy. They've stopped talking about it almost completely. I hear about it a little bit. They'll just colloquially explain the process, but they are not promoting it. And one of the phenomenons that I've noticed that I keep hearing over and over again, I've seen David Green say this in multiple videos, and I should have clipped it for a reaction. He keeps talking about buying non-cash flowing properties that don't cash flow day one and don't expect to get cash flow day one. What you need to do is be in for the 10-year plan, the appreciation play, and know that you're going to get cash flow later. What do you think?
I could not imagine a worse strategy than that. I don't know what to tell you. That's so anti one rental at a time. It hurts me to hear somebody with his voice say that. Betting on appreciation is a sucker's game. He will ruin people if they follow that strategy. Will some people win? Sure. Somebody wins the lottery. But most people, this is probably why they stopped talking about Burr, because most people that did it lost their ass and they were tired of the feedback. So now you got a guy coming out with a big clout saying buy for appreciation. Are you freaking kidding me? Haven't we? Oh, that's disappointing. That's disappointing. So
I think one of the things that happens, and I've noticed this with a lot of big time influencers, and I'm glad that you and Dion and the lumberjack don't go down this path, but it's almost like they forgot what it was like when they started. And now that they have hundreds of units and all these companies and all this money pouring in from social media, they're like, well, yeah, sure, I can forego the cash flow and just wait for the appreciation to happen. Why not? But I mean, you see it with Grant Cardone, you see that with David, you see it with a lot of these guys, and it's just frustrating how that mental shift happens and you forget who's watching your stuff. People with nothing, no rentals, maybe one, and you can't give them that advice. It's just reckless, in my opinion.
I agree. What he said.
Wait a minute, what's the difference? John Smith-IJ4XE says, retiring early is not the right way, but financially free is, in doing what you truly want to do and enjoy it. So Mike, what's the difference between just retiring early and being financially free?
I think everybody has their own definitions of all of this. I think you smash all this together is once you have your monthly nut covered, do what you want to be happy. It's not about not working. It's about having choices. I think a lot of people, myself included, while I was, 30 and 40 years old, I thought retirement was sitting on a cruise ship or a beach or playing golf. Where in reality, I retired at 45 with a ton of energy, a ton of life experience, and a new mission to create something that lives 50 years after I'm dead and gone. That's exciting. I show up 5 days a week to do that now. But I don't consider it work. I have fun every day. I am now getting positive notes from people every single day. It's just an amazing opportunity what financial freedom has allowed me to do. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, for those of you down in the comments, if you want to leave a comment, what do you think the difference between retiring early versus being financially free is? Because like Mike said, it is different for every single person. So it's interesting to see those perspectives. I got a channel that's much smaller than Mike's, but I can also attest to the fact that it's nice to see all of the positive comments, especially when somebody says, hey, the advice you gave me prompted me to buy my first rental. Or I read one on your channel this week that was like, I listened to you, Dion, on the Lumberjack, and now I'm on my 6th single family home. Like, dude, freaking fantastic.
Yeah, I want to give your channel a shout out, Millennial Mike. You probably know this, but for the audience, I have this software called vidIQ, and because you're one of my boys, you're in my list, and your channel is growing. You're often the #1 growing channel on my list.
Yes.
So you're whatever you're doing is working. Your social media game on Instagram is amazing. So don't forget to shout out one rental at a time once in a while. Help your boy grow a little bit. I need 2,500 more subs.
You know what, man? So I don't know how much you've paid attention to what Dion and I do. Dion and I get together and we film our shorts together, because this style of content where we do these interviews, when they turn these into shorts, sometimes they do okay, but for whatever reason, the algorithm doesn't like this. It likes vertically filmed in person. What I want is when we do the Vegas event, when you hit 50,000, is I'm going to make you spend like 4 hours with me, and we're going to film 150 shorts so that you can have them. And I'm guaranteed,
you know what? So as you know, but again, I want this on record. So, so why I didn't record yesterday, I was in Vegas doing our walkthrough of a house. We are supposed to close next week. We'll see. We're going to drop a couple $100,000 in the backyard.
Nice.
But when we're done, I will fly you and your son out to Vegas. So, and we'll spoil your kid and your girlfriend if you want to bring her, or whatever you want to do. We'll spoil you for a day and a half, and then I get you for a day.
Perfect.
To record. So we'll put that in the books.
Yes, because I tell you what, Dion and I have been doing real well with shorts, and I know you would kill it just as well. We just got to change the format of the questions, and they're going to take off. Okay, we got like
shout out your boy, one rental at a time. Get some subs. Come on, help me out.
I will. I'll promote you. Don't worry. Dion and I are going to talk trash about you and talk love about you. Okay. Recently, you released a video with the 3 amigos, speak of the devil, about how to get started with just $100,000, or if you have $100,000. And Nimsiv asks, thanks guys for the video. He says, I like real life scenario situations. Next, do it for people who already own their primary residence. So Mike, if you already own your primary residence, what is the best way to get started investing in real estate?
So again, I have to relate this to the video to the question. So again, when I go back to the 3 amigos, Dion was house hack, Matt was house hack, I was, find the market, do the work, right? So what I hear this person saying in the question is house hacking is out of the question. That's how I took that question. So one thing that Olivia and I did, I don't recommend this for everyone, but again, I can only give you my experience, is we did take a home equity line out on our house that allowed us, because our cash was gone after the second or third purchase, that we used. The only rule for us, and this is an important rule, was we had to pay it off in a year or less, right? So we used our equity line to buy a unit. I couldn't do anything else until we paid off the home equity line, and then we could use it again. So one thing you can do if you're sitting out a bunch of stuff, certainly if you have a very low interest rate, is you could get a home equity line and use that as seed, but never, ever, ever put your family at risk. If you use it, your full intention is on paying it off, and don't do anything else. Don't double down. Don't over leverage. You've got to guard the family home with everything you have. So hopefully that's clear.
Yeah. No, home equity lines of credit are extremely powerful. I used one on my primary residence I'm in right now to do 3 Burr strategies. It's amazing, but complex. But there's pitfalls, there's hurdles, there's a lot of ways to mess it up. I really like the turnkey rental property as your first 1, 2, 3. Get your feet, under you, figure out the game before you try something more advanced. But like Mike said, there are other options out there. And unfortunately, I spoiled the end of the video because I always like to end on a positive note, and I totally stole my own thunder with the final question comment, which is what it's really all about. And that was from Jen Wee 1894. He says, Mike, keep up the good work. Found you during COVID, but now I'm at 7 single family homes. I'm a W-2 as well, and you've been an inspiration. Bought your book, and I loved it. So Mike, what do you have to say for him?
I want to thank everybody who comes back daily. I actually know my channel would grow faster if I just did 1 video a day. I know I produce a lot of content. I think what makes One Rental at a Time channel different, and probably the place to be 3, 4, 5 years from now, is the fact that we have 8, 9, or 10 millionaires that come back and spend an hour with me. I believe in the long game, this channel is going to explode because we're proving to help people every day. That will become 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 folks. I believe doing the work is undefeated. So for me, it's not about, yes, I want to celebrate 50,000, but that's more about just a 2-year goal that, Dion made me spend some money on. But I'm happy every day. So I thank you for coming back. I thank you for, if you're one of the 200 people watch me live at 7:30, thank you. Thank you. If you're one of the 5,000 people that watch my daily financial news every day, thank you. Thank you. If you're one of the people that watch 1,000 views of one of my other things, thank you. Thank you. I'm here for you. Hopefully that comes across. And I appreciate all the encouragement, support, thank yous, selfies, book reviews. I read them all. I don't have a team. You see somebody reply, it's me. You see somebody, posting a selfie, it's me. So thank you.
Yep. And you can always know that it's Mike because in that reply, it'll be no more than 4 words, which is why we have this segment right here. If you got a good question, we'll get it answered. Thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. We do have videos to react to because people send Mike videos they want him to react to, and we just do that in a different segment. So look for that in the next segment. Mike, that's everything I got for you.
Thank you very much again. Go check him out. Millennial Mike, out-of-state investing, single dad, house hacking. He is the man, and he's growing like a weed and deserves it. Thanks, buddy.